I'll be good enough. Time.
27:05.
Sweet.
All right, guys, welcome back to the bench. So today we're going to talk about the BRN-180. I'm going to give my full review on this. I've shot well over 1,000 rounds through this gun, and I personally think that I can just kind of give you guys my thoughts, opinions, and what I like, pros and cons, and all that other fun stuff. So let's kind of go into it. First, we're going to get into the lower receiver. I'm going to talk about how I built this out, and then an issue that I had with this Midwest Industries beam stock here. So we're not the beam stock, it's the beam folder that you can attach a stock to. So I'll talk to you guys about that here in just a second, but let's kind of go over the parts. All right, so I went with the standard Brownells BRN-180 lower receiver. I will state that I think this is kind of odd. Let me zoom this in here real quick. If you guys look right here where your SN is, it says 5.56 by 4.5. The weird issue that I've seen with some of these is they make these, but they don't make them in like 300 black or 7.62 by 39 calibers specific for any of these that I'm aware of. The interesting part is this is the blem lower receiver, which I don't see very many blems on. We'll kind of see that here in a second, but you can use these on any of the BRN-180 uppers, so the 7.62 by 39 or the 300 blackout. You can use this on there, and I have a feeling that that's probably one of those things you won't be able to do if you want it to match right here. Like if you want that to match, I don't know if a lot of people will like that. I think you'll probably have to buy a different one. I really think they should have gone with Cal Multi, but I understand why they went with 5.56 by 4.5 because I believe the original BRN-180, I think the original AR-180 or AR-18 was a 5.56 caliber rifle. So I think that's kind of why they stuck with these retro style lowers to be 5.56 compatible. But if you're looking for one of these in a 7.62 by 39, just so you guys are very aware, it's only in 5.56 by 4.5 marked on here. And I don't really care if you see my serial number. It is what it is. So another thing, there are quite a few small blems if you buy one of the blem ones. This was $100. There is a little blem right in there, and then there is just some little nicks on here just every now and then. I'm not a huge fan. I think personally more companies should offer blem stuff because I like buying blem things just knowing, like, see, there's another blem right there. You guys can see that. There's just another one right up in there. I personally don't mind buying the blem stuff. I think it looks fine to me. From a distance or in Instagram pictures, it's hard for people to kind of pick a lot of that stuff out, but it is what it is. Another kind of con, I did have to go with the B5 P22 grip or Type 22 grip for the P grip or whatever. I'm not a huge fan of this grip. I think it's okay, but I don't think it's like probably one of the best. I do realize that my hand kind of goes up a lot higher with this, whereas the one with the beaver tail, it kind of keeps it in line where I like it, like right there. But when I'm up higher, I notice that I'm like way over gripping the safety, which is where it hits over here, which is really just a training thing. I just have to kind of train around that. But with this lower receiver, I do realize that. And a lot of people may not like that at all. You might want to have the grip that has the beaver tail on it. You can kind of trim them up or do whatever, but if you just kind of want it to look out of the box and work, I highly recommend picking up one of these. And then I went with a LaRue MBT two-stage trigger. The reason why they don't make a single-stage trigger anymore, for some reason, they're awful, and they decided to get rid of those. I did go with the Forward Control Designs Ambi 50-degree safety, which I absolutely like. These are just the standard levers. You can get the Quick, which has the ones that go up a little higher. And then if you're left-handed and you buy the Quick, you can technically swap the levers either side. It doesn't really matter. It will kind of look weird, but it's not bad. I did go with the Forward Control Designs OD Green takedown pins. They do work really well in this receiver. I've had these in other receivers, and they kind of either been too tight or too loose. Maybe that's the receiver's fault, but this one is a blend, but it's not. It works out really well. The magazine well is kind of funny on this. If you look right here, it's very shallow, and it only holds about like so much of the magazine, but it works. I was able to use my Ambi Forward Control Designs magazine release and standard magazine release with their enhanced spring. So that's just kind of the lower. And then so the Midwest Industries beam stock thingy, the beam bar for your stock. These screws right in here, as you can see, these screws had an issue with it being a problem. They were backing out. So what I ended up having to do is I had to take these out and I had to spray inside of there with some brake clean on this, because these are two different pieces. I had to spray it with brake clean and then just put some blue Vibratite in there. I recommend Vibratite or Loctite, blue or purple. Don't use red unless you never want to get it out again. But yeah, that was one of my only problems with this stock. A lot of people will be like, oh, I don't want to do that, but I like Midwest Industries. They make good stuff, but I think sometimes the QC kind of slips a little bit, and I don't foresee that being a problem with a company that puts out as much as they do. Midwest Industries will be more than happy to make it right. I like this little receiver. If you're going to buy one, definitely the blems I don't see a problem with. Just remember, you kind of do have to use a particular grip with it. You don't have to use the B5, but you can use like the Magpul, any of the Magpuls that don't have the thing. You can use like a standard A2 grip, anything like that, but that's what I really like. And then also, did you guys know that these B5 stocks without the battery compartments now have an NSN number, and you can use those if you're in the U.S. Army? They now have an NSN number, so go ahead and pick yourself up one. All right, let's kind of break down the BRN-180 from front to back. I did go with a Surefire closed-time war comp. I have run a chemo device on there before, but I don't know if I'm going to be getting a chemo can or whatnot. I have no idea yet, but we'll figure it out. I like it. We'll talk about how it ran with the Surefire RC2 and the Rexilenium 3 baffle that had a chemo adapter for when I was running the chemo muzzle device on there. We'll talk about that also. And then that'll kind of be in like the pros and cons section. So we'll talk about that in just a little bit. I ran my E2XT with the Surefire body that has the scout mount, that 640, the 640 Pro mount or whatever. And then I'm just running a standard mod button tail cap. I am running the Slate Black Industries vertical grip. I do have a Bravo Company QD socket area that I really like on there. I think that's actually pretty cool. And then I am just running my awesome Holosun that's just been beat to crap, the 403R GB. So this is the RGD, the gold dot. And then the 403R means that it has the rotary switch on there. So I like that one. I think that one kind of matches the T2 a lot more. Plus, it's, it is a T2 clone. Let's go ahead and state that. It is a knockoff of a T2. So maybe a T1/T2. They work really well. They have the pros and cons. We'll talk about that then another day. And then the ScalarWorks mount that costs about the same as the Optic, which I like the ScalarWorks 193 mounts. They are very bomb-proof, and they do return to zero. I have tested that before. If you go to my Utreon, there's an old video where I do state that in the ScalarWorks mount that I did have at the time on another gun. The ScalarWorks mounts work really well. I tested that with a Comp M5B, or Comp M5 with the ScalarWorks mount. I think those are awesome, and I absolutely love those. That's the Comp M5 and the ScalarWorks mount is what's on my home defense gun. The OD Green BRN-180 was sent out by Brownells, so huge thank you to them. They are an incredible company, so if you want to go save any money on the BRN-180 itself, it is a Brownells thing. Brownells did make this upper receiver, and to be honest, they are awesome. But if you want to save money, use code BOP10 or Triggered. Save yourself some money over there. Sometimes there's some pretty cool deals. These go on sale regularly for $7.99. So if you're ever out there and you're looking for that, by all means. In the pros section, I'm going to give you guys a cool little example. My youngin, who is 8 years old, she has ran this gun, and she absolutely loves shooting this gun. She said that it was probably her favorite gun to shoot, and she had a blast doing it. If you have a youngin and you want them to be able to shoot their guns, and you want them to be able to run something like this on a tripod for an 8, 9, 10-year-old, I think is probably one of the better cool guns. This actually did run really well on a tripod. The accuracy on this gun is very good. Check out my accuracy video, and I'll be rolling in some more accuracy groups with how big they are and all that other fun stuff. So I'll just be rolling that in so you guys can see that stuff. The accuracy on this gun, I'm not gonna lie, guys, it's it's not incredible. It's not like impeccable accuracy, but it's very good. It's very good for what it is. A 1-in-8 twist barrel, being a short stroke gas piston gun. I believe you're probably going to get about as much accuracy out of this as you can with the modern technology and all that other fun stuff. I do want to test it suppressed accuracy wise to kind of compare the groups with what I've had unsuppressed. But we'll have to do that at another day. That will definitely be something that happens in the future because I do plan on getting a 30 cal Surefire can, and I think that would work out really well with this gun. Just being that 30 cal Surefire can would probably help tighten up some of those groups, especially with that 1-in-8 twist and the 16-inch barrel. I think we can definitely pick up some more stuff. Now, let's get into the cons. As a left-handed shooter, I don't know if the gas system is off on this gun or whatnot, but as a left-handed shooter, I was constantly getting brass ejecting right into my right forearm. That's just how I hold the guns. That's how they work. I've never had an issue on any other AR-15, unless I'm shooting suppressed on those guns, where it would send brass into my arm. The only other gun I had that with is I built an 11.5-inch Faxon barreled upper, and that gun was so overgassed that it would literally send the brass casings directly into my forearm, kind of like this one does, but it was way more violent. I would actually get like cuts and burn holes in shirts and stuff from that. This one is not as violent. It does kind of shoot them out at your arm and they kind of bounce off and you will get those little burns on your arm. But it wasn't to the point where it's like if you had to use this without a long sleeve shirt, you would be feeling a bunch of pain the next day. It does suck to be hit in the arm by hot brass, but at the end of the day, it's a pretty good rifle, and I will definitely still be shooting this gun. I'm just going to make sure that I continue to wear my long sleeves with this. All right, guys, so real quick, in the middle of this, or at the end, I'm sorry, I decided to rebuild the bolt carrier, the bolt, and kind of clean up the carrier and all that stuff when I cleaned the rifle. So what I ended up doing was replacing the spring. I'll roll in a picture now. This is the original spring. It's very short. I don't know if it's short by design. We'll find out here in a little bit when I go take this out to go shooting, but it is very short. And then I had an issue with the plunger and spring. Really, I don't like those little plungers in there along with the donuts. And then I noticed that it really wasn't as stiff. So what I ended up doing was I had a tactical springs kit with the M4 enhanced ejector spring, and then and then this right here with the extractor upgrade kit. I normally never use the plungers. I just use the donuts. So that's what I ended up putting in. I'm an absolute fanboy of this, but it does have a couple of other cons. It only comes in a 16-inch and a 10.5-inch for the 5.56. I would like to see like an 11.5 or a 12.5 or a 13.7/9. I think those would all be good barrel lengths for this, and I know PWS can definitely do a 14.5 because PWS is part of the people who make this gun, and I think that it's a very good gun. Other than, however, PWS kind of has it set up right now. Again, I don't know if there is an issue with this. I have seen other people shooting their BRN-180s where the brass does eject over their shoulder, or where it would go over my shoulder, but it goes in the direction where it should be going. This one definitely does not do that. This one, it does have problems where it does send the brass into my arm. I don't know if that's just due to the gas system or whatnot, because shooting this with a Surefire RC2 SOCOM, not the Mini, just the regular SOCOM. You should see the videos in there right now. I was not able to run this on the suppressed mode. In the suppressed mode, I was short stroking this the whole time. Like it was not sending the bolt all the way back. It was not picking up the next round. I had to move it back to the unsuppressed mode, and when I was running it unsuppressed, as you guys can see, it ran perfectly fine, had no issues sending rounds down range. It was a little bit punchier. Now I'm going to state, I could not tell you exactly how much. The punchiness of that was, to my uncalibrated arm, it did feel a little bit more punchy. Was getting a little bit of gas coming out of the ejection port towards me, but not a ton. And it wasn't so much to where it wasn't, you weren't able to, you weren't eating gas like on my Colt 11.5. When I run that guy suppressed, that thing shoves a ton of gas into your face. This gun definitely does not. I personally think if you're going to pick up one of these and you're going to run it suppressed, you're not going to be upset. I don't know if my gas system is just a little funky, but I'm going to continue to keep running it and kind of see how it does. Running this suppressed was not bad. Let's get into the bolt carrier group here. Now the bolt carrier group does have a spring-loaded little piece back here. If you are ever looking at this bolt and you're wondering some things, it's kind of its own unique design. If you've ever seen the AR-180, this definitely is the exact copy of that. It floats when it's inside of there because it kind of interacts like this, and then it kind of floats on these two tracks. So really, as long as you keep the upper receiver oiled and you just kind of keep its point of contacts here kind of oiled up and ready to go, this will never give you any problems. You don't need gas rings because it is a piston gun, so you don't need any of that. I'm going to take this apart and clean it up really good, and probably leave it until I get my optic that I want, which is the Aimpoint Duty RDS. That's probably one of the ones that I'm going to get. But I absolutely love how the bolt works on this, and I love the systems. But I'm not going to lie, this is probably not like a go-to-war style gun. I've never had any problems with this firearm, but I will state, I think with the massive opening here behind the where the ejection port is, I think you have a lot of dirt and debris that can get in there. Now, personally, I don't run my guns lazily. I will run out there, I'll get them dirty, I'll throw them around, they'll get muddy and wet and all that other fun stuff. I personally haven't had any issues in there, but I also haven't put the gun on the clock. I highly recommend, if you do use this firearm, make sure you're using the dust cover. The dust cover will definitely save you from a lot of stuff, and that's one of the things that they've kind of made when they were making this gun back in the day. Make sure you use the damn dust cover. It's probably one of the things that will help keep all of that dirt and debris out of there, or at least minimize the amount that gets in there. Don't use this gun without the dust cover. I think the BRN-180 Sport was an absolute travesty. I don't think they should have made that gun whatsoever at all. I think this is definitely a better gun to have. I would give this gun here, I would give this one that I have 8.5 out of 10. I just think that it is a good gun. I think it works really well. I think it's accurate enough for what it needs to be. You're not going to be shooting the flies or the wings off a fly at 1,000 yards. You will be doing decent amount of accuracy. You can shoot to 300, 400, 500 meters with this gun and not have a single problem. I just think that it will work out really well for you guys. I will take this to my next 2-gun competition. This will probably be the gun that I run there. I will probably get the Aimpoint Duty RDS, and I will probably be running it with some sort of magnifier behind it. Hopefully the G45 on the Omni mount, so I can run the Duty RDS on the 226 riser and be able to run that kind of how I want it. But it's a good gun so far. I think that the only con is it doesn't come in any of the barrel lengths that I want, and I don't want to have to send it off and get it chopped to 14.5, then have to mess with the gas system, and then BWS won't warranty it or anything like that. I think at some point when I kind of vet it out, maybe I'll get it chopped down to 14.5 or just less than 16 inches, maybe make it a little less unwieldy. But it is a good gun, and I highly recommend, if you guys are out there looking for one, by all means, go pick one up. You can slap them on whatever standard lower receiver you have right now, or you can pick one up and kind of build your BRN-180 lower if that's what you want to do. But I absolutely love this gun. I love that it came in OD green. Probably would have never bought it if it didn't, which I know is another con for some people. They probably want the OD green and they can't have it, so they probably won't buy it now. But it is a very, very good gun. I highly recommend, if you guys do want a BRN-180, and no matter what color. They do make them in FDE, they make them in black, and I think that's it right now. So there you guys go. I hope you guys enjoyed my review. Please let me know if you have any further questions. Yeah, I think I've told you everything. I'm pretty sure I have. If I haven't, leave a question down below and I will tell you some more. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I think it's pretty awesome, and I think this upper is pretty awesome. Anyway, as always, be a hoodlum.
Oh, yeah.